Hello there. My name is Kyofug, and today we're going to be doing a lecture about the history of recorded music. Now, a lot of you out there have been requesting that I do more lectures because you have gotten so much great education from me. Despite my incessantly itchy nose, you've gotten so much education from me, and you were like, hey, I listen to music all the time. This is my average viewer speaking here. I've listened to music all the time. Pretty much my whole life I've been hearing music. I'd love to know about why that's going on and how it's done and why it's done and where it's done and who's it done, who done it. And I thought, well, who done it is a great genre. I thought I'd dip my toes in. So if you're new here, pay close attention. If you've been here before, you know what's going on. We got our piece of paper. We got our king-size Sharpie. Now, at home, you can get any pen pad and pen, pencil pen, pad, whatever. I'm using a king-size Sharpie here today because it is king-sized, and it is a Sharpie, and I'm using some fancy pants paper. And we're going to go ahead and go over this topic, and we're going to learn so much. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into it. Again, my name is K-Y-O. I put a dot right there in the middle of the O. F-U-G, folks. That's my name, Kyofug. Read it and weep. And then, today we're going to be learning about the history of recorded. Come on, folks. Come on. Stay with me here. Music, attention span, wee-woo, pay attention. History of recorded music. And down here we will do a little vinyl record. That's what we're going to cover today. I hope you are pumped and excited. Okay, let's go ahead and get going. Grab our first legit sheet after the introduction. Now, what is recorded music? Music is music, which we know what music is. If I have to explain what music is to you, then what the heck are you doing here? This is a little above your pay grade. Okay? You're a little bit of a dumb guy. But if you know what music is, stick with me. Recorded music is where you take music. Here is the treble symbol. You may recognize it as opposed to the bass clef symbol. And what you're doing is you're taking that and you're pretty much making a record of it. See where that word comes from? On one medium or another. So that can either be a vinyl record, that can be a CD, or that can be a tube of wax, or it can be a strip of magnetic tape going over two wheels. Excuse me, pardon me. It's a natural result of me being so jazzed about music. We'll get to jazz. Hey, I know you're listening. You know about it. I see. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. That's what we're dealing with. And we're going to go back and go through the different stages. These happened at different times, and we'll get all of that going. But I want you to keep in mind this little warning here that this is going to be a high IQ topic that you're going to have to be very smart to consume. And it's going to be very cool. So if you're a lame guy, you might want to tune out now. When I say cool, I mean to your sunglasses guy. That's the cool level we're getting to. So, I mean, we're going to be talking about James Brown at some point. We're going to be talking about, Vanilla Ice at some point. We're going to be talking about Cher. So, I want you to get ready. And if I forget to mention any of those names later, that is simply because I strategically chose not to because of the trajectory of this whole presentation. All right, let's move on. Let's start with the origins. Origins. What happened? Thomas Edison was a fucking asshole. He was a scumbag. He was a jerk, and he invented stuff, or at least he claimed to, because he was a guy who did that sort of thing. Kind of like a Milan Husk of his time. Now, someone took a candle and turned it on its side, and then they took a cone and put a needle on the end of it. And then someone else, put needle. I said needle is what I meant to say. And then there's someone on the other end, usually it's a little guy, that's spinning the wheel. And then as you play sounds and the sound waves get stuck in that cone, this is around 1910, is what I remember seeing on Wikipedia. It makes these little etchings. And then later you can reverse the process and put the needle on the etchings and then it will play the sound you recorded. There's pretty much no difference in sound quality between these wax cylinders and, say, a uncompressed, like a wave file or something you'd be playing on some like nice Dolby speakers. Same thing. It sounds exactly the same. The reason they didn't do it though is because when it got hot, they would melt into a puddle. So they stopped doing that. And see, the problem is if they only recorded bad music back then. That's why I don't hear the stuff that much anymore. Why? What are you talking about? I thought they don't use this medium anymore because it's crackly. The sound quality's not good. No, that's because all the musicians sucked that were able to record. Here's why. If you get a bunch of people in a room, it's a hot scene. There's a bunch of people and they're jamming. And there's a bunch of people watching them. The room gets so hot the wax melts. So they could only have people who were terrible at playing their instruments. And all that crackliness and weird distortions, that's not from the recording medium. That was actually because back then only the worst, crackliest horn players could actually be recorded onto wax. All right, next up, we got the phonograph, folks. We're still in Cone Land, except this time it has little lumps around it. Boom. That's going down here. Same needle, except this time we're using a lump of vinyl that we're smushing into a thing, and then we're carving into that freaking thing, and then carving it up, and then that's how we're making this little music box. Now, why is this better? Because vinyl is a little more sturdy than wax, so we can actually have people who are recording good stuff. Now, people buy these a lot nowadays, and that's because it's made of vinyl, which means it's more durable. So you can handle it more, and you can show people how cool your music taste is. And you can grab it and wave it around and be like, look how cool my music taste is. Look. And you can wave it around. So that's why these are so popular now, is because you can handle them so easily. You can also play sports with them. Like, you've seen vinyl frisbee. It's a very popular sport. Started, as most of you know this, but, it started from the film Shaun of the Dead. It wasn't actually a sport in the movie. They were trying to kill a zombie by throwing vinyl records at it. But the viewers saw that at home, and some people thought it was, hey, that's a great idea. And almost overnight, the craze exploded, and people started throwing these vinyl discs around. But that's jumping forward a few years. When the vinyl records started coming out, people really loved them. And get this was the first time a lot of people heard music. So people were really excited, and in fact, they even had their mouths open. And this was back in the day when people used to just go listen to music and hang out with people in real life. And which I know that's hard to imagine sometimes, because we're more used to just sort of this. But it used to be a lot more fun. You had music playing. Now, I know I mentioned jazz. Vinyl records, what did they put on it? A lot of times they would put jazz because jazz is really cool. I gave you a cool warning earlier. Jazz. What is jazz? Jazz is pretty much it's pretty much a genre of music that is super cool and awesome, and you should listen to it. It's pretty much taking a bunch of these instruments that were available in America, and they were being played and used by people who were African American, who were bringing in their music from their cultures that they were torn away from, and then it was kind of cross-pollinating with the instruments available at the time, and like a little bit of like Western music theory, and birthed this amazing thing, which is some people would argue jazz is kind of like the backbone of like popular music, and it's amazing. Yeah, jazz is awesome. And they would put it on vinyl records. Here's a vinyl record. Here's what a vinyl record would look like if it had a jazz record on it. And then I will show you, here's what it would look like. For example, you've heard of metal, right? Like, not metal, like tungsten, like lead. I mean, like the genre. Like Judas Priest and Linkin Park. The two metal bands. Here's what a vinyl record would look like if it had a metal band on it. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward to CDs, folks. CDs. What are CDs? I don't know. I really don't know. They're weird. This part doesn't do anything. It's just like it's just, is it plastic? I don't, it looks like glass. It's bendy and it's like shiny. It kind of has a rainbow look to it sometimes. It can get scratched and that messes up. It makes it skip. I don't know how it works. And I'm actually kind of frightened by the idea of CDs because they are very weird. I've read some Wikipedia words, and what I've found out is that it's way even above my pay grade. And I'll tell you this, folks, and you've heard me say this before. If it's something that I can't understand, then most likely, actually, almost 100% certainty, there's no way in heck you're getting through that topic. So let's just go ahead and put CDs aside. We kind of skipped over it, but you got tape, okay? Here we go. Here's tape. Here's tape. Here's tape. Boom. Boom. Here's the wheels. Here's the wheels. Here's the tape. I don't know, it goes like, there's like knobs here or something. So pretty much what's happening here is there's a magnetic strip, and you're putting electricity into it, and you're making it remember stuff. And then you rub it over a little camera that picks up all the memories, and then that plays through, makes like a big piece of plastic wiggle enough to make the air shake to make you hear it. Reel to reel is probably the only way you should listen to tape, because cassettes are, it's mainly just why start a collection of cassettes, because you can't find any, because the hipsters have bought all of them. You go and try every store, the shelves are empty, even secondhand. As you know, hipsters live on cassettes, and I don't mean that as in they love them. No, I mean they have to consume at least 3 or 4 of them a day in order to keep their Pitchfork subscriptions. So keep that in mind. But reel-to-reel tape, folks, it is the way to go. Probably the best sounding audio format, just because it is so finicky, so expensive, hard to store, and just out of reach for most people. Now, music, okay? All right. So we're listening to music. What are some best ways to listen to music? I'd say if you are a person who has a nose that's shaped like this, and your eyes are shaped like this, then I would say you can generally listen to music with headphones. I'd say that's okay. Because if you look like this, you just seem like a person who wants to wear some headphones, and we'll go ahead and let you do that. But keep in mind that using headphones for more than 20 minutes a day will guarantee you will be deaf before the age of 40. I just want to be completely honest with you. That's just the truth. Now, if you're someone who has a nose that looks like this, you have eyes that look like this, and to be even more specific, especially if you have teeth that looks like this, oh boy. I'd really recommend you get rid of all your speakers except just a row of gigantic subs. No tweeters, no regular cones, just subs. And you need to get blasted with lower frequencies, because I'm hoping that will exhaust you enough so you stop clenching your face so hard, because that looks really painful. Now, if you're someone who has a nose that looks like this, the eyes doesn't matter. If you have a nose like that, there's so many options, I can't narrow it down. And you have a mouth that looks like this, then I would really recommend you listen on a nice, like 70s wood panel hi-fi system, okay? That really helps you. Because you seem like you're under a lot of stress and you have no class. And, a nice wood panel hi-fi system from the 70s will give you a lot of class, make you really hip and cool, and then you will be able to get the ladies. Now, something to consider is that recorded music has always had a problem. Money. Yeah. Yup. The problem is, in order to do recorded music, for that I will do a little CD over here as an example, even though they terrify me. CD. In order to get here, you have to have this. In order to get that, you have to have this. This seems like a paradox, but wait a second. You can get this from murder. You can kill people. Take their stuff, kill them, take their stuff. You can kill people. Some people will give you this for killing people, but a more direct way is killing people and just harvesting their meat and bones. And then that will give you the money. But see, the problem is, here's what happens. You kill people, you get money, which gets you money, and then you're able to make records. But the problem is, what do you do with all these records? Well, you have to sell them to people. But the problem is the people are getting killed because you're murdering them. Then how are you going to have enough people to buy the stuff to get the more money to... You see, this is the fundamental problem with the record industry. And people have been complaining about, like, Spotify, for example, and Apple Music, but this sort of thing has been going on for ever since recorded music started. Whether you're recording to a wax cylinder with that bastard Edison, or you are recording straight onto a vinyl disc, or you're recording in the studio with, I did remember, James Brown. You're in there with James Brown, and he's doing a version of Sex Machine, but it's like 20 beats per minute faster, and it's crazy, and just everyone's letting loose. They're taking long solos, which like is weird because that song usually doesn't have solos in it, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And they're recording it to tape, and then you take the reels off, and you get to take them with you, and then you hide them in your basement because you're like, I don't want anyone else to know about this except me, because you're a selfish bastard. Jerry, could you please upload it to YouTube? Come on, man. Anyways, that's the fundamental problem. It's always been this way. And that's why you see so many people just being murdered in the street violently, is because we're trying to get more records out for summer. Every time you see someone post song, I think I just made the song of the summer, they also just made a double homicide probably earlier that day. Now, if you go and look back in recorded music, what's the best kind of music? It's always music that has a beat. Drums are an essential part of recorded music. The problem is they are a pain in the ass to record. And what's even worse than that is the not so intelligent people who play drums. What do? Finally, they invent the drum machine. Ace Rhythm Tone, baby! Yes, Sly and the Family Stone. Uh-oh, wait a second, it sounds horrible. It sounds good on that record, but that's just because it was an anomaly. I mean, that's one of the best records of all time. Sly and the Family Stone, there's a riot going on. If you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it, because it's fantastic. It is one of the dustiest sounding records in the best way possible. That's just a fact. So the Ace Rhythm Tone sucked, except when Sly used it. But eventually, we had a company called Roland who made a good one. I forgot what it was called. They made a really good one, and it was a box, and it wasn't that great, but it had some preset rhythms, and it was really finicky. And I almost said Simon and Garfunkel, but it was the other one, Hall & Oates. They used it for some I Can't Go For That, and people were like, this is dope, we want more of that, except not as terrible. Which led to the TR series. You got the TR-808. I want you to think, I mean, almost any trap song ever, but I Want to Dance With Somebody got some crazy 808 action on there. You got the TR-707, which is sample-based drum machine. I can't think of any like mainstream tracks that use it, because I usually think of 808 or the Lindrum, but I like using it to make music. It's fun, it's great, similar to the Lindrum, just a sample-based classic digital drum machine. But then here we go, marry the both together and make a big beautiful baby. You got the 909, baby. You got house music. You got Daft Punk. You got Bjork. You got, what else you got? You got Cher. You got Depeche Mode. You got Atari Teenage Riot. You got this is awesome. TR-909 is a great drum machine, and it's iconic. The snare rolls, the hi-hats. I mean, it defined electronic dance music, folks. So I'd really recommend that you get some samples for a TR-909 and you make some fun dancey music and you dance with your friends. And you can be a part of recording history. Now, people usually think, okay, music, recorded music. What should I listen to? Let me give you some advice. I think you should listen to songs. And the reason I think you should do that is because it will make you happy. That's it. You should listen to songs because it will make you happy. I can guarantee you that if you go listen to some music, it will make you happy. And if it doesn't, you're doing it wrong. So far, we've learned today about the history of recorded music, including wax cylinders, CDs, vinyl. You know about that, folks. Those hipsters. Cassette tapes, hipsters times 2. Reel to reel, out of reach for most people, not even worth it. And you've also learned about drum machines. They're cool, and the 909 is awesome. You've also learned about Hall & Oates used a drum machine once and made a cool song. Maybe they even used it twice, but I forget what the other song is called. And we've also learned that James Brown is really cool, and he made a song called Sex Machine that is very fun to dance to and to listen to, and you should check it out. Let's see. Oh yes, I almost completely forgot to go into cyberspace. We got the boom. Here we go. Remember LimeWire? Boom, boom, boom. We got the boom, boom, boom. See, I tied that in. Boom, boom, boom. Remember Black Eyed Peas. Remember LimeWire. Remember Napster. Lars Ulrich, I'll draw him here, was in a band called Metallica. He was a bald man, and he was angry because he had millions of dollars, and he couldn't get millions more dollars because people were downloading his music for free. He's a wimp because of that. Made some great records, but he complained because people were getting his music for free. I think you should definitely get all your music for free from websites like that, or use an ad blocker. That's a fantastic idea, and make people like Lars even more angry. I think that's a great idea. Nowadays, what does recorded music look like now? It looks like this. It looks on a phone. Here's the home button. It's around 8 seconds. It sucks. It's weird. TikTok. Trend. FYP. Pretty much everything is just TikTok now. Everything's Instagram. Everything's computer. And I don't think people are really happy with that. It just makes people unhappy. They take songs, even good songs, and take a tiny little clip like the trend going on right now. This is going to age like milk. Where they take the YMCA and they stop it on Y. You know, I want to stay at the Y. And then it echoes. And it's just taking a great song about being a young gay man and just turning it into just a piece of slop. And I think that's awesome, because you know what that means. You know me. If you know me, you know what I like. What happens when you make the slop content and you follow the trend? You get lots of money, baby. It will never end. You make a lot of money. So I say you follow those slop trends, baby. You say the number that you shouldn't say. You know the one. And you say that a lot. And you tweet and twat. And you use X. And you use TikToks and Instagram. And then you make money. And then once you have all that money, you'll finally be happy and you'll be fulfilled. That is the method, folks. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here. My name is Kyofug. Don't forget the dot and the O, folks. Come on now. And today we've learned about the history of recorded music and how awesome it is, and how you should make a TikTok and you should follow a trend and make a lot of money. And also, CDs are scary. I mean, listen, if you listen to one of my lectures every day, I pretty much guarantee you that your IQ will increase at least 15 points. That's just a fact. And I've been watching them because I edit them, and I get even smarter from watching. So, I mean, folks, it works. Okay? I should start my own online course and sell it, but if I get too much money, then I'll just be too smart. But again, I've been Kyofug. This is the history of recorded music. I hope you learned a lot. Please watch this video multiple times, share it, like it. Check out my website, www.kyofug.online, and I hope you have a great rest of your whatever point of the day you're in. Thanks. Bye-bye.